they needed to do for that. The offense was fantastic. My man Javonte Williams, almost 100 yards.
Always a fan.
George Pickens, as Jerry said, was incredible. CD was already barring the drop at the end. He could have had another touchdown. And Dak did his thing, right? Four touchdown passes. The big thing, Nick, and I know you saw this, the defense. The defense was pretty good. And the interesting thing is they held them to 16 points. Look, again, it's the Raiders, but those Raiders put, 29 on Jacksonville. So, they put 20 in beating your Patriots. Hey, week 1 counts. I don't know. Week 1 counts. They put 20 on the Patriots, all right? So I'm not going to just, throw that performance away from the Cowboys because they brought back, they had 6 new guys on their defense. Yeah. All right, we have a graphic for it, but obviously Quinnen Williams. But whether it's trade or guys returning from injury, we know Overshown, he's a good player, Malik Hooker. Yeah. So they brought back some talent. And Quinnen Williams, 1.5 sacks last night, season high. Mm-hmm. 5 quarterback hits, career high. Oh, so he was huge. We know that trade was big for them. He showed up. So, look, I've got nothing but love for the Cowboys and how they played last night. So I am giving them a – wait.
Fancy.
Excellent, fellas, as always.
Excellent. Yeah,
Excellent.
Great job.
Just perfect.
And
great
look,
job. Yeah,
consistently perfect.
Yeah.
Barring Wilds' comments about the Cowboys making the playoffs, they may fade soon, but we're going to find a way to get the Crooners onto another team somehow.
No, those guys are
We
phenomenal.
got to keep using keep bringing
them. All right, they obviously deserve an A. I do want to talk about a potential overreaction to the Quinnen Williams trade, if I may, because he was great. And he is a really good player. There's no questioning that. Whether or not I would have made the trade, sidebar, he's now on the team. Because you spent a few minutes or a few moments talking about the Raiders, I would like to say something about the Raiders in relation to Quinnen Williams. I actually think and I obviously was wrong about the Raiders, how good they could be this year. Their biggest problem, I believe, has been the worst offensive line in the league. I think worse than what Justin Herbert's dealing with, worse than what Cam Ward's dealing with. I think it's the worst. And the only reason I'm mentioning that is the Cowboys' D tackles of Quinnen Williams and Kenny Clark looked like the Eagles' D tackles on Sunday night, utterly and thoroughly dominant. And I do think Quinnen Williams is an excellent player. I don't think they're going to have that level of impact week to week. I think that was a great first matchup for Quinnen Williams. If they were to have that type of impact week to week, then they could really go on a run. The team could, because the offense is excellent. Yeah. And Dak has been excellent. And Dak, I know he had the couple weeks where the numbers dropped a little bit. Watching Dak week to week, he's been, to me, as consistent as any quarterback in the league other than Stafford and maybe Drake May. Josh Allen's had higher highs, but he hasn't been as consistent. Patrick hasn't been as consistent. Lamar's been hurt. Dak's been great. And that was a great win for Dallas, and Pickens was phenomenal.
Yeah, guys, can we just, oh my gosh, the Las Vegas Raiders are easily one of the worst teams in the NFL? Brew's trying to celebrate that you held the Raiders to 16 points. They average 15.5 points per game. 15.5 points per game, they have the 30th ranked offense. Can we just please chill out here? Okay, they score 25 points per game. They allow 25 points per game. So, stop. Just like how I blasted Nick for praising the Kansas City Chiefs for beating the Raiders, it's just stop. And it's why it was so alarming to me that the Broncos struggled to beat the Raiders. And it was just yeah, that's not good. And then when fans, when I live streamed the Eagles and the Packers game and it had a similar score, people were like, oh, everyone ripped the Broncos. And it's that's because the Raiders are an awful team. That's why that's the difference. This game teaches you nothing about the Dallas Cowboys. Absolutely, positively nothing about the Dallas Cowboys. And make no mistake about it, because I know Cowboys fans are going to, hem and haw at me going into the season. I was nowhere close to being as low on the Cowboys as anyone else in the media. Not me. I said I think Dak's going to have a great year. I think they're going to have be really successful offensively. I believed in their defense more than what it showed us, honestly. Because I was like, I actually like the hire for the DC with Eberflus and whatnot. So like, I'm not here just bashing the Cowboys just because I want to bash the Cowboys. But this game tells you absolutely nothing. This is the type of game that the Cowboys and Dak have consistently won, and this is exactly how you would perform. I was talking in the comment section. They were said, oh, it'd be interesting how the Cowboys look against the Raiders. I was like, the Cowboys should definitely easily win against the Raiders. And so I was like, yeah, probably, but I don't know. And they started saying a bunch of other stuff. And I'm thinking to myself, there is no, I don't know. Like, well, what about no? The Cowboys are going to win this game. It's going to be a very, like, this is exactly what you would expect this game to look like. I mean, you're throwing like a wide open passes in the end zone. You're throwing a pass to Pickens, who then gets the ball and is able to like run around in circles and get into the end zone with like cartoonishly terrible tackling. Ashton Genty literally can't run. What did he have, like 6 yards rushing? Like the Raiders are awful. And I thought the Raiders were going to be significantly better than what they were. I wasn't as high on them as Nick was, but I also didn't think they were going to be as bad as they were. And this is credit to Manini. Many said, don't pick Ashton Genty. Draft someone on the O-line, that's what you need to do. Then they didn't, and they're suffering the consequences for it. But I mean, you know, this game just tells you nothing. I think really what you should be most excited about the Dallas Cowboys, honestly, because this is how I felt watching this game, was that Schottenheimer was a great hire. You know, he's an alpha. He's the leader of the team. He's the unified voice of that team. And considering the last couple of coaches that you had, you never really had that unifying. I'm the coach. I'm the head coach. It's my voice. When I talk, you shut up and listen. That's how this works. That's how we operate here. You didn't have that sense with the Cowboys, with Jason Garrett, McCarthy, etc. And it's like you have the unifying voice. I'm in charge. I'm in charge. This is who I am. This is my offense. This is how we operate. And it's something that the Cowboys need. And I think that's the most positive. But like also culturally a little bit, like again, you're beating the Raiders, who are again objectively and subjectively an absolute awful team. And you're like dancing around on the sidelines and you're hugging the goalpost. Like just like weird stuff where you're just like, what are you actually doing right now? That is something that that has been consistent with the Cowboys. You know, they went on Thanksgiving and they're celebrating like they won the Super Bowl, right? Like they always boost up their wins in the most grandiose way. And you know, I remember I said this in 23. I said, they're going to win the division and they're going to celebrate and they're going to party and they're going to go nuts on the field. And that's exactly what they did. And then they got smoked against the Green Bay Packers in the Wildered round. And that's where this Cowboys team needs to finally like mature and grow up and just be like, guys, we're beating the Raiders. Yeah, this is an important game. Yeah, we're trying to get back on track, but like we have to put things in context here. And it's actually kind of interesting because I was thinking about this. You know, I watched this game, and like I said, this game was exactly how I expected it to be. And I was trying to find little nuggets, like what's interesting, what can I talk about? And that's why Schottenheimer, I continue to be very impressed with him as a head coach. So like to me, that is the biggest takeaway. But I know the Cowboys are going to play the Eagles and they play the Chiefs, and you know, I know a lot of people are going to boost up that Eagles-Cowboys game, and understandably so. Amazing rivalry. When both quarterbacks are there, you know, whether it's like Dak or Carson or Dak and Jalen or whatever, like when everyone's both there and it's not Cooper Rush or Trey Lance or whatever, like we typically get great competitive games. But to me, the Cowboys and the Eagles are really like the definition of those divisional games. And so even if the Cowboys beat the Eagles, that still doesn't tell me much about this team. I'm more interested to see how the Cowboys play the Kansas City Chiefs. That's more of a specific team. That's not the Philadelphia Eagles, and the Cowboys have such this intertwined relationship with each other. Beating the Eagles, it's just like it doesn't move the needle for me. I want to see, because I still think the Kansas City Chiefs are a good team. I still think at the very least they're a high quality team and incredibly well coached. That's what I want to see. What Dak Prescott and this Dallas Cowboys team. That's what I want to see, what this defense looks like. I care more about what this defense looks like against Patrick Mahomes, Travis Kelce, Rashid Rice, Xavier Worthy, Andy Reid, that matters more to me than whatever the Eagles got going on with Kevin Patullo, a damaged O-line, right? Like that means less to me. Now the Eagles defense is great, and so I will be fascinated to see what Dak has in store, and Schottenheimer has in store for that. But again, it's still a specific divisional game, etc. The Kansas City Chiefs Spags. I saw what they just did against Bo Nix. I've seen what they've done against the Eagles. Seen what they've done against the Charger, right? It's just like to me, that is the game that I'm looking for, to see the progress and the growth of this Dallas Cowboys team. I mean, the Cowboys could smoke the Eagles and it really wouldn't move the needle for me. For me, it is without a shadow of a doubt against the Chiefs and the Lions. These are the two games. And even the Chiefs and the Cowboys a little tough because it's obviously the Thursday game, Thanksgiving, short rest, which obviously the Cowboys are no strangers to, but still it's kind of a shame. I would have liked that game under a little bit more normal circumstances here. The home team on Thursday night games definitely get a pretty big advantage there. But, you still now have, again, a game against the Lions, which I know the Lions haven't been the best version of themselves necessarily, but these are the two games. The Eagles, it's just too weirdly specific of a battle between those two teams. I wouldn't be surprised in any direction whether the Eagles smoke the Cowboys smoke the Eagles. It's a battle to the end. It's just the Eagles and the Cowboys. That's its own beast entirely. The Vikings and the Cowboys, that's not going to move the needle for me. The Chargers, by December, I don't even know how many guys they got left on that roster. And then obviously the Commanders are banged up, and the Giants are, at this point, they're probably like, hey, let's keep losing, baby. Let's get that number 1 overall pick. So, what tells me the most about the Cowboys and who they are right now? Chiefs, Lions. Chiefs, Lions, that matters most. Because there are plenty of wins here, right? It'll be interesting to see what they do against the Eagles. Like I keep saying, that's its own beast. Then you have the Cowboys, and then you have the Chiefs and the Lions. Then the Vikings, you're in a great position to win that game. The Chargers, you're in a great position to win that game. The Commanders, you're in a great position to win that game. And the Giants, you're in a great position to win the game. So it's really these next 3 games that you really want to try to come away with being, 2-1, 1-2. Like you want to try to pull off 3 wins in this stretch. And I'd argue that one of the best wins, that one of the easiest wins, and this is obviously no value judgment on the Eagles, is the Eagles because it's that divisional game, because it's you guys know each other so well and you constantly play each other incredibly competitively. And so that actually out of these next 3 games, which is why since I see that technically as the easiest game, even though I think the Eagles are better than the Cowboys and better than the Chiefs, it's just because of, again, I'll say it one last time, it's the Eagles and the Cowboys. But I see that as like their easiest potential. And so if they drop that game, then it could be like, it could signal 1 of 2 things to me. Maybe technically 3 things, but I would lean towards 2. The Eagles are more in control than anyone wants to give them credit for. Or that it was just a tough divisional game. What are you going to do about it? The third would be maybe the Cowboys aren't as good as I think they are. And I don't, like I said, that won't signal to me, honestly. That would just be kind of like if I really want to pull back the lens here. But Chiefs Lions, if you're a Cowboys fan and you want to, we're going to keep doing the whole ranking system. And is this an A game, a B game, a C game, a D game, whatever? It's like, if you want to know who the Cowboys are right now, how do they play against the Chiefs? How do they play against the Lions? That's how you know how good or not good this team is and what their actual potential is, especially if they're able to find themselves and sneak into the playoffs. They sneak into the playoffs, but they lose. I don't even know if this would be possible from a standing standpoint, but if they beat the Eagles, but they lose to the Chiefs and the Cowboys and the Chiefs and the Cowboys, I'm all over the place. The Chiefs and the Lions, and they win out the rest of these games. I don't know how confident I'd feel in the playoffs that they actually are like, all right, they got good momentum. They're on a what would it be? A 1, 2, 3, a 4-game win streak. Like, let's go, baby. Like I don't know how comfortable or confident I'd feel at all, because it's like, okay, you beat the Chargers who were drowning. You beat JJ McCarthy and the Minnesota Vikings. It's like you beat the Commanders, but they're a backup quarterback. You got the Giants. Is it Jameis Winston? Is it Russell Wilson? It's like wouldn't feel good about it. So, but the good news is we get those answers over the next couple of weeks. So that's the good news. We get those answers over these next couple of weeks. but those are just my thoughts. I'd absolutely love to hear yours. What do you guys all think about the Dallas Cowboys? How do you feel about this game? Are you celebrating? Are you singing songs and dancing? Do you believe that this is the turning for the Dallas Cowboys? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. I read every single comment, so whether you agree with me or disagree with me, let me know. We can get in some discussions, we can get in some fights, but ultimately we could just have some fun. And please don't forget to subscribe, as I really want to build an awesome community here. It is hard to dance and talk. I don't think I'm very good at dancing or talking at the same time. I can do both separately, but not at the same time. So please don't forget to subscribe. Please don't forget to give this video a thumbs up. Thank you so much. See you next time.